a lot of the other work we've had to do as well is stuff.
No cables.
Yeah, cool. Let's get to it.
So as you can see, we now have the left side rear quarter all in and flattened off the face around here, so that now seats really nicely around the light frame. The other side is also pretty bad. So along with it just straight up not aligning with the boot at all, you can see from here there's quite a step back, the shape's all over the place, and the gap down here is way closer on this side. So what I've done is basically started making a mock-up piece. This fits over, and when it's cleated in place, has the correct gaps that match up with the other side. So I'm gonna sort of finalize this piece. So yeah, let's get to it. See, both sides now lining up really nicely. The gaps nice and even up there. So all I've got left this side is to weld up the cleco holes, do a final bit of planishing, and then we're actually done with the rear panel repairs. So you may remember the boot lid we did some repairs on before. We done these pins so that the bonnet could actually, boot lid could actually be latched down. I've made the pieces to be welded in here. That's basically for the catch, so when you open the boot all the way up, it holds itself in place. I haven't done much alley welding, so I'm going to hand this piece over to Nathan, and he's going to weld in these bits for us. And then that's the boot lid pretty much done.
New tools, no cables.
Closing in the last bits of this rear panel, the last welding I've got to do here is just to fully connect these two pieces. Obviously I had the boot lid in before, so I couldn't actually get to this. But now I can, so yeah, we're looking pretty good. So as you can see, we have the Ferrari up on the ramp, mostly so I can get to finish off these lower quarter repairs. Gives you a quick shot of the underside of the car, which actually, having a look under, is fairly tidy. So we've got a couple of these bars here to replace in the floor, and then to recoat bottom of the fiberglass, same as this bar over here. Was a bit rusty and stuff, but generally speaking, the underside is actually pretty nice. So we're happy with that. So a little bit of an update is I've done some initial panel beating to level out both of these lower quarter repairs. So they've still got a little bit of tickling to do, but they're in. Finished the two inners, but while underneath, started cleaning up framework to check all the framework was okay, and we found this beauty. We did see in the comments some people had said that these back corners go out. Luckily this side's all right. But yeah, so I've got to repair and replace this piece of box section. So the next step I'm going to do, help with Ken's, is pull off all this side of suspension. Yeah, so that will give me the access to that bar to start replacing it. Obviously we do a bit of welding some supports and stuff in place so we can have like these top mounts and everything all locked and in the correct position. But yeah, that's what we're going to do next. Here we are, got the suspension out. Did it with the minimal disassembly as possible. So literally it's pretty much 8 bolts got that out maybe. I've made up a little jig frame piece here. So this is so I can keep these brackets, well basically put them back in the exact same place when I'm done. So I've even got a little spacer here that sits against the tab to lock the location. I'm just going to have the frame rotate down, do all the work up here, rotate the frame back up, lock it in place, and then weld on the tabs again. So last thing to do before I take that off is I'm just going to tack weld these brackets to these top tubes. That way that even if I knock it while it's down, they're not going to twist within or around the bolt, so they do stay true. Yeah, so then after that is cut this horrible piece out. So as you can see, I have the new bar made up, the new frame section, and fitted in with all the end welded up and capped the same as the original. Got the frame I made before, just all bolted into position, sitting against the tab. All the tacked up brackets are held in the same position, so they're good. This is clamped up to those. I've checked the level, matches the other side. So we are ready to weld this bad boy in.
Right, we have passed on a few stages now. You can see we've actually gone as far as to fabricate a rollabout frame for the shell to sit on. A few reasons behind this. We've ripped out the rear suspension, and there's a few areas in the engine bay we want to get to for paint purposes, sorry. So it makes sense to leave the suspension out, put it on a frame so we can roll about. Also as well, we've raised it to about 2 feet, which is a good height for the body shop team to work their stuff under here. So obviously when it's lower down, it's a lot harder to get your paint gun in there. So they're the reasons behind that. Metalwork is 95% finished now. So Johnny's done an amazing job of fabricating all the panels, getting everything welded on. But now we're on to the stage pre-body shop checks. So this is a very important stage. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, and we want things done right before it gets into the body shop. So this is a stage where we look at body contours, gapping, refinement, panel beating, and obviously going around, because there's been a lot of welding on this, going around and checking there's no pinholes, no cliquer holes we've missed, no little splits or anything anywhere. So it's a very important stage this is. So we've got 2 of us on the job at the minute, panels, and where these have been off and been put back on in a previous life, these are causing us some issues because we're getting some bellying through the panels here, so we have to even shrink down a lot of these panels using like a shrinking disc. So if you've got a high spot, it's quite hard because then it runs through into the door, so it makes the body working process a lot more difficult. So yeah, we've been taking our time doing this, but we should be out of that pretty soon. So yeah, cool, let's get to it.
So this sunroof has been kicking our ass, basically. When we first started, when we first put it back in, one, wasn't sliding like this, and we found, and it also just wasn't shutting, it was basically way below height or kicking way too high. We found that the brackets were all out of shape, they'd been modified, welded, so we managed to get our hands on 3 of 4 new ones, so we just had to adapt one of the old ones to match those. Now it actually mostly sits up where we want. All the front sits really nice and at the height we like. The next thing we had to do was basically unpin down these sides so that we can get all the heights correct, because it might be hard to pick up on camera, but basically these dip quite a lot down the back half here. But now we've got those free to move. The other thing was sill. It had a completely wrong sill around the edge of it. And so now we've got the correct sill on the front and sides. We're still having trouble with working out what's going on at the rear, but now at least the sunroof pops up and the front's in quite a nice position and it doesn't pop up and move. Before we'd put the new brackets in the front, the top was actually just floating about. So with the runner guides, we've tried searching everywhere and looked with Maranello parts and stuff. They were the ones that helped us find new brackets. They can't even get a hold of these, let alone we don't even actually know whether the ones we had in here look correct or not. So we've been working on a few different renditions of these guides at different thicknesses and such to try and get the guys who actually sit in the runners, because the original ones are this sort of width and they just weren't grabbing and the whole sunroof was basically floating up and down. But now with the slightly wider ones, they're actually locking in the rails, which is holding this front where it's supposed to be. All we basically have left now before we finalize and re-weld around the sides is what's going on with the rear seals. We're still having a little bit of an issue there. But besides that, we're fairly happy with how this is coming along.
Right, so Johnny's been really consumed with the sunroof mechanism. That's kind of been absorbing a lot more time than we expected. So I've been going around, well, as you can see, first thing is something we completely forgot to film was we stripped all the suspension out. On the front and the rear. So reasoning behind that was all the rear is going to be ice blasted and refreshed, so we thought it makes sense to do the same to the front as well. Also as well, where the front suspension mounts, we found some crusty areas on the chassis, so we want to address that as well. So yeah, suspension out, and we are frustratingly close to getting this into the body shop now. I'm on the arches at the moment. Just finishing up any kind of planishing, panel beating, checking for pinholes, dressing off the backs of the welds on the panels, finishing up any return edges, all that kind of sort of stuff, the small fettly stuff. And also as well, we spent some time and had a look at a few other examples of 308s. We've been studying videos, pictures, and we're lucky enough to know someone who's restoring one. We know someone who's got one in storage. And also as well, we've kind of befriended a Ferrari technician as well who works in the Classiques department. So that's all been very helpful. So not all the time you see and stuff we haven't been videoing is, you know, kind of research in the background that goes behind the restoration as well. But the idea behind that is to make sure, you know, the final execution of the metalwork is exactly how it needs to be before it goes into the body shop. Because by that point, it's too late. So one thing we've been looking at is the angles of the arch lines and the way the swage lines run. So we've had to look at a few examples to determine how we want the finish of the arch detail. So now I'm just kind of panel beating these to get them to a point where they're both the same and where they look like they should be.
Big wheel, isn't it? So we've got a bit of a crowd spot across here. Dollying it just brings that up high and gives it a just general point. So we're just using the big shrinking disc, going across it and gradually bringing that down. It's nearly there. We should just run a couple more over it and then we should be good to go. Let that cool, see how that's moved, and then hopefully it's where we want it. That already feels a bit better. So while investigating the steelwork here, we basically had some sealer and a little bit of ginger in that we could see coming out of it. So what we started doing was basically pulling all the sealer out and wire wheeling back this. As you can see on this side, we've discovered this horrible little piece in at the end. So we're going to cut this out and replace this with a nice piece. On this side, more of what we're on about with the ginger in. So we actually noticed the rivets this side in the fiberglass have just powdered and completely separated. So yeah, and we're just going to carry on chewing this back away here, clean up all of this edge, get it nice and protected, do that on both sides. Some of the stitch welds have started to separate, so we'll have to replace little cutout pieces there.
Just going through and doing all the... Right, we finally have the 308 into the body shop. The last few weeks, me and Johnny have been pretty testing, just going through all the final bits of the bodywork and the metalworking process. So we've had the guys from the body shop actually come in with us and cast their hands and their eyes over everything. There was actually, underneath the primer, hid quite a few dents and stuff like that. So you can see a lot of it has been bare metal now, where we've gone through and sanded down, metal finished, and dressed out any dents and deformations in the metal where we can. All the gapping's been done. We've done full fit up of everything. The sunroof really kicked our ass. The roof was out of shape. The sunroof had the wrong seals and stuff fitted. And after a lot of, oh yeah, the sunroof brackets were deformed and destroyed at some point in its life. The nylon guides were non-existent and you can't even get them as well. So we end up having to design and 3D print our own. And we finally got the sunroof sitting where it needs to, but then we realized that the seal originally was a 2-piece seal, which are now superseded to a 1-piece seal. The 1-piece seal doesn't fit. So yeah, it threw all sorts of complications at us that we had to try and negotiate around. Right, obviously we've done a lot of repairs and added repair panels and stuff to this. So there's tons and tons of welds on this. So we've been going through final planishing of all the weld seams, going through any pinholes, dressing off the backs of the panels where they've been welded. So the kind of last 5–10% has taken quite a long time just to get everything finished off to a good enough state for the body shop team to jump in and you basically give them less work in the long run as well. So, there was a lot of bulginess around these quarters everywhere, so we had to do a lot of heat shrinking with the shrinking disc and the carbon heat rods and stuff like that. A lot of planishing to get them to a good level surface across down the sides of the car. Same with the roof as well. We had to do a lot of shrinking on that as well. Luckily, the panels themselves aren't too bad. The engine lid itself has needed quite a bit of work because that was quite distorted. But the body shop guys are now happy that they can, well, do their thing really and get this moving along to some more exciting stages because we're all bored of seeing this in metalwork now, and I'm pretty sure us as well as the customer and all you guys watching are looking forward to seeing what colour this goes and seeing it in some paint as well. So enjoy